We're going to go ahead and take a look at word order. I hope you remember that word order in German can be sometimes a little bit challenging. Before we even take a look at how word order can be changed when we have both direct object and indirect pronouns, basically remembering that direct object is the accusative case and the indirect object is the dative case, we need to go ahead and review what those pronouns are. So go ahead and take a look at this list. Those are the relative pronouns off to the side, which we've looked at before, but we're just going to look at the personal pronouns. So you should recall that in the nominative case, ich is what we learned first. Ich and then mich, mir. For the du dich, dir. Ihn, ihm. Maybe think of, den and dem in terms of our der word chart. Sie, ihr. So ear changes there. Es, ihm. Then we have wir, uns, ihr, euch, sie, ihnen, lowercase I, and then sie for formal, sie, and then ihnen with the capital I. So before we talk and look at word order, we want to make sure that we go ahead and remember what those pronouns are. So pronouns, by definition, replace or modify a noun. All right? So, let's take a look. Here's a sentence. Frau Burau knows Herr Braun. So both of these are nouns, and they can be replaced by pronouns. In English, we would say, she knows him. In German, word order is such that the verb is always second, so don't forget that. And then we can go ahead and write a sentence. So, knows is kennen. She knows. Sie kennt. And then, now we know she knows him. Him is the direct object of the sentence, therefore the accusative case. Sie kennt ihn. In sentences such as this, we want to replace and watch out for the accusative and dative case. So here we have, I know you. Dich is the accusative case of you. In this sentence, we have the personal pronoun ich, I help you, but this you is not the same as that you. Helfen, if you recall, helfen is a dative verb. Because it's a dative verb, we use the dative du. So, ich helfe dir. So they both mean you, but they're two different yous. In German, we might have a sentence like this. Ich habe den Kuli. I have the pen. We can also replace that by saying, instead of I have the pen, we can say I have it. The one thing we need to remember about German is that all nouns have gender. So is it a masculine, a feminine, or a neuter word? You should know that pen is masculine. Therefore, when we rewrite this sentence to say I have it, we need to use the masculine version of it. So it becomes ich habe ihn. In the context of this, ihn means it and not him. When we replace pronouns in German, there are 3 rules we need to remember. The first one is when we have no pronouns used in the predicate. So if we have no pronouns used in the predicate part of the sentence, no pronouns, no change. For example, I buy my mom a boarding pass. We can dissect this sentence, first of all, by finding the verb of this sentence. The verb is kaufe. Who or what buys? I buy. I buy what? Do I buy my mom, or do I buy a boarding pass? If you answered a boarding pass, you're correct. I buy a boarding pass is the direct object. So in German, that becomes the accusative case. I buy a boarding pass to whom or for whom? My mother. That is the indirect object, or the dative case. Since the subject of the sentence is a pronoun, we don't have to worry about it. There are no pronouns in the predicate part of the sentence, and therefore no change. No pronouns, no change. Once again, no pronouns in the predicate part of the sentence, no change. The next rule that we take a look at is, what if there is one pronoun in that predicate part of the sentence? The rule for this is one pronoun, pronoun first. One pronoun, pronoun first. Let's look at an example. Here's an example. He gives the passenger a boarding pass. Once again, we have the verb and the subject. He gives. He gives what? He gives a boarding pass. That's our direct object. He gives a boarding pass to whom or for whom? He gives a boarding pass to the passenger. So this is the dative case. Now, what we want to check out here is what happens if we want to replace one of these as a pronoun. Let's go ahead and take a look at this by replacing boarding pass. We can keep our subject and our verb, gibt, and then we need to remember that one pronoun, pronoun first. So we're just replacing boarding pass. So eine Bordkarte is feminine accusative. So this becomes sie. Gibt sie dem Fluggast. It still means he gives the passenger it. Now, what if we wanted to replace passenger instead of boarding pass? This is the dative case. Once again, one pronoun in the predicate, pronoun first. We still have our subject and our verb, gibt. However, now we have boarding pass, which will stay in the second position. Oops, I'll go ahead and just say die Bordkarte. We'll just say the boarding pass. But now, Fluggast is replaced with a pronoun. If you look at the previous chart, it's ihn, ihm. So it becomes, he gives him the boarding pass. The third one to note is if you have two pronouns in the predicate part of the sentence. Two pronouns, the pronouns switch. So you switch them. You flip the order. So two pronouns, pronoun switch. We'll look at an example. This sentence is, gibt dem Mann eine Karte. He gives. He gives what? He gives a card, direct object accusative case, to whom or for whom? The man, dative case, indirect object. So if we want to make both of these pronouns, saying he gives him it, then we need to switch the order of the pronouns. So we're going to go ahead and try that right now. He gives. Now, Karte is feminine. Feminine accusative is sie. So that is it for card. Mann is masculine, and this is the masculine dative, which is ihm. So the rule is two pronouns, pronouns switch. Therefore, we need to switch the order. So we are going to get gibt sie, and then we are going to flip that with ihm. So gibt sie ihm. Two pronouns, pronouns switch. Let's just look at a few other quick examples. So let's look at these sentences. Eric kauft ein Buch. let's go ahead and replace all the nouns with pronouns. So instead of Eric buys a book, we want to say he buys a book. Er kauft. So we need to figure out what is it for book. Book's gender is neuter. So neuter, accusative, er kauft es. He buys it. In this next example, we're going to go ahead and look at they buy the teacher a book. So instead of saying they buy the teacher a book, let's say they buy the teacher it. So we're just going to replace ein Buch. So they buy, remember, one pronoun first. So dem Lehrer is going to stay the same, and we need to remember that ein Buch is accusative and it is neuter. So we would say es. One pronoun first. So Sie kaufen es dem Lehrer. Notice the grammar here doesn't change. It's still the dative case, but the words have switched orders. In this next example, we're going to replace both of these with pronouns. We buy the teacher a hamburger. So we buy. We know that teacher is feminine. We know that hamburger is masculine. You should know that we buy what? This is accusative case. And then we buy the hamburger to whom or for whom? The teacher. So this is the dative case. Now we need to use our brains and our charts. We buy it. Accusative masculine for pronouns is ihn. And then we have dative feminine, which is ihr. The rule is two pronouns, pronoun switch. So we say wir kaufen ihn ihr. Ihn ihr. Two pronouns switch. So, thank you. Bye.